Hello, adventurers. Welcome to Grognard and Friends. Low-key Mr. G here, coming to you from the secret underground bunker far beneath Grognard cables, where, along with my friends, we play a little game that we know as Dungeons and Dragons. But before we start, a quick announcement. This coming weekend, all of us here at Grognard and Friends will be attending PAX Unplugged here in Philadelphia. So if you see us, please make a point of stopping us and saying hello. We'd love to meet you. Also, starting in the new year, we will be unveiling our new branding that we are very excited about. And we will have a small number of special limited edition t-shirts with the new branding available for sale at PAX Unplugged at a special convention price. So if you're interested and you see one of us around, let us know and we will make sure that you can get your hands on one. Also, even though we will be at PAX all weekend, to go ahead with the next episode of Grognard and Friends next Sunday evening. So now, let's check in with the friends and start this week's episode of Grognard and Friends. When last we left our friends, after investigating the house on the bitch, one of their own, a little blue goblet butt trumpet, had been gobnapped in the middle of the marketplace. The friends had searched and questioned people in the area and even alerted their contact within the guards of the crime. And while they found few leads, they still hadn't found their friend. So with the market shutting down and the day ending, the group reconvened back at their inn, the Stone's Throw, where they ate, drank, discussed it, and eventually turned in for the evening. Okay, everybody. You're in bed for the evening, and a few things. Nikita,
Yes.
You've spent much of your life quiet and solitary. So you're used to being alone. But this evening, you're having a hard time sleeping. You actually are finding the room feeling exceptionally lonely and empty. It's a little different for you. Gaius.
Yes.
You're not sure why, but you too are having a hard time sleeping this evening. It's a little fitful, and you are sleeping off and on. But while you're usually the early riser of the group, you found that you've gotten up even earlier than normal this morning.
Damn soft mattresses. I need them sturdy like a board.
So what do?
Oh, well.
Oh, by the way, Reed, you're sleeping like a baby. You're out cold. Like usual.
Lucky bastard. Whatever.
Is the bunny curled up beside him?
Yeah, right, like nibbling on his hair as you go along, as it's there.
That's just gross. You don't sleep with your pets. And Gaius makes his way downstairs.
Okay.
Dressed and ready for the day, as always.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Was D&D going to treat me today?
Okay.
18? I perceive things.
You notice someone sitting in the corner, but Butterbeer calls you over the minute that you come down. He goes, Father, if a word, please.
Butterbeer, what's up? What can I do you for?
When I went to open this morning, there was a young lady waiting at the door. Even before I got here, it looks like she might have spent the night outside the door. When I asked her what she was doing, she said that she was here to see you and your friends.
Like any one of us in particular, or just
She just said that she was told to find the group of adventurers that were uh, staying here. That's
Oh,
all I
okay.
know.
So not nobody I might know in particular. Gotcha. Okay.
And that's her over sitting in the corner. She said she'd wait for you.
Well, yeah. I guess two of your best breakfast beers. What is
Okay.
appropriate for coffee? Does that exist here? You guys got coffee?
Well, we have coffee, but the porter seems to be the popular thing.
Yeah, two of those then.
Okay. Anything to eat? She looks like a skinny little thing.
Yeah, get her. Whatever you guys got ready. I know
You
it's
got it.
kind of extra early, so no need to do anything special yet.
No problem.
I'll come stumbling down the stairs very uncoordinatedly,
Okay.
flagging
You,
butterbeer and like, coffee, now,
okay.
please.
And Gaius, you
And
see
then,
Nikita come down.
Nikita, we have a guest
a what?
down. A a person who would like to see us. Apparently,
Oh shit, what'd we do?
nothing. Nothing bad,
Yeah, that's what I can't.
right?
Okay.
Right? Nothing bad. Look over at Butterbeer. Nothing bad, right?
She
No,
seems nice enough.
didn't get
She
that vibe,
seems,
right? Okay.
No, she seems like a nice young lady.
So then I'll scoop up the porters and make my way over with, I guess, with Nikita either downing the coffee or, I don't know, is it ready brewed, fresh?
He goes, I'll bring that over.
Thank you.
I'll chew on the beans if that's all you've got.
No. Just a moment.
That's I think that's a delicacy down south.
Okay, so you head over to the corner then, or
Yeah.
okay. Vivalda, why don't you, before you say anything, tell these two what they see?
Yes, so you see this young elven woman sitting at a table. Her hair is shaved on one side of her head, and it's this dark brown color braided over one shoulder right now. She's wearing leather armor, and she has copper skin, and she's just kind of peacefully just like waiting. Looks like she's been waiting for a while.
I'll elbow Gaius and like, is that enough?
Beers in hand. Whoop. Yes. Guys turns is like in Elvish. Obviously, I can't do it here. Hail and well met, and puts
What'd you
the
say?
drink down in front of her. And then I turn to her and speak in Dwarvish. I know a few languages. I've spoken
In
Elvish. By the way.
Yes. In Elvish, I would say, thank you, and I would take the drink from the table. You must be Gaius, I say in common.
Yes. I took a couple correspondence courses in the major languages when I was at school.
Oh, wonderful.
But so I come sitting down. May I take a seat?
Oh, of course, yes. And you too. Oh my gosh.
I am
Gaius
Nikita.
and Nikita, yes. I was
And
told.
your name? Your name again?
Oh,
Sorry.
yes, my goodness. I'm so sorry. Yeah, my name is Vivalda, but you can call me Viv for short if you would like.
Viv.
It's
Yes.
easier.
I do like shortening names,
Yes.
much to the
then
chagrin
Viv,
of most
then.
of the people I know.
Yes, I was told by the quartermaster to come to you. I was looking for work, and she said to come here and ask for a group of adventurers and look for Gaius and Nikita, and ask if there was anything I could do for you.
Well, does Viv have any like weaponry or anything obvious
Oh yes.
on their person?
She's got quite an arsenal of weapons on her back, all peace bonded from coming in, and she's got a long sword, a long bow. She's got a shield, a short sword on her hip. She's got quite an arsenal.
Oh, well, it looks like you could fit right in. I mean, we're kind of short some members
No pun
at
intended.
the moment.
And from behind Gaius, you hear pun very much taken and intended. And behind Gaius, you see a
Good
rather
morning,
tall.
Alfred.
You see a tall young man with long black hair and I think like grayish blue robes.
Yes, and this is a wizard of sarcasm.
And he goes,
Who
"Present."
wields the deadliest tongue I'm aware of in all of the Four Rivers when it comes to insulting people. And he does
I see.
magic.
Wonderful.
He goes, "You flatter me, father."
Yeah, but it's the only way I know how to diffuse our arguments. So yes, Viv, we could definitely use your help. We have, oddly enough, a lot of missing person cases that we're currently working on. Some of them are
Oh,
party
nice.
members.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, but yes, I'm pretty good at finding things as I'm used to hunting a lot, so I'm sure I could use that as a skill to help you find people.
Excellent. Because I
What
know
have
a
you
little
hunted?
woodsmanship.
Oh, hunted. I've hunted quite a few things. I've spent most of my life in the forest, so deer, elk, etc.
Okay.
Mm. How are you with giant insects?
I'm not sure that I've come across a lot of those, but I would be
Good
happy
news.
to try it.
Well, you're probably going to get to experience that. How are you with strong smells?
Strong smells. I'm sure I could handle them
Yes.
fine.
That's good. Do you have a pair of what we'd like to call sewer clothing?
No,
That's all
I
right. We'll
actually
get
have
you
never.
some.
Okay.
Oh, it is a once in a lifetime. Well, it's what you wish would be a once in a lifetime experience. I have a bad. Oh, by the way, yeah, we have to go in the sewer to look for some missing kids. So, I mean, we have great need
Alright.
to go there, but we'll get you some soap, some nondescript clothing. You don't mind getting messed up. Oh, did the quartermaster? I guess we got to add you to the list for approval to wear armor and use weapons in certain parts of the city. I guess
Oh,
we'll
wonderful.
stop by the colonnade to get that done. Yes, it comes in handy a bunch.
I would imagine, yes. I was a little
Too frequently.
saddened by the peace bonding.
Yeah. Oh well, got. Oh, do you do any magic? Any kind of?
No, I'm good with my hands and fighting and swords, but I cannot do magic.
That's all right. No.
Neither can
It's
I.
very
That's
hard to peace bond
problem.
magic. That's fine. No,
This
it's
is
more
true.
of just curious what the capabilities of our new adventure is going to be. So you're a hands-on
Yes,
kind
I'm
of
very
person.
fast.
Good.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Oh, good.
Okay, well, I guess
About
we'll
this
get you
time
a
you,
tax form to fill out.
About this time, you see a halfling come down the stairs, footy pajamas, hair all a mess, yawning, teddy bear under their arm,
And the bunny.
and a bunny under the other arm.
Am I
And
missing breakfast?
This grown man halfling is also a member of the party, despite the footy pajamas and the bunny.
He likes getting kidnapped.
Yeah,
is it a
and
real
ironically,
Yeah,
Is it
you
real
see,
funny? Can we talk to bunnies? Who are
You-
you? Can you talk to bunnies?
Can I talk to bunnies?
You're an elf, right?
No. I wish.
Okay. Well, I'm Reed.
Hunt bunnies, I think.
Nice
Read
to
this-
meet you. You can call me
tasty.
Viv.
Oh, yes.
I-
Viv, Reed, Viv.
Yes.
Reed, just describe your bunny while you have it there.
This multicolored little bunny is quite bigger than he used to be. I think he's eating a lot of bacon, but that's okay. Or whatever rabbits eat. I don't know. Lettuce, carrots.
This one ate bacon.
He has learned from you then.
I have
We
seen
have a
quite
carnivorous
few
bunny.
of those. Yeah, I've seen quite
Multicolored
a
ones?
few of those around town. I thought I was going crazy. I had never seen such brightly colored bunnies before.
So we had a
Yeah, it's
friend.
magic
That's a
for you.
thing here.
Hopefully, we still have a friend. Yeah. We our friend,
imagine.
this little goblet.
Mhm.
All right.
She did some kind of magic, and all these bunnies appeared. So pretty neat.
Ah. Oh, okay.
It freaked out the locals because it looked like she pooped them out. So now they think she's some sort of demon.
I.
A little unfortunate.
Oh.
All right. Interesting. All right. Sure.
But,
Yeah,
but we gotta
magic's a
keep
little- Random, I guess.
we have to keep that all low key because apparently they're looking for a trumpet. So.
A demon.
Well, I mean, not our friends in the guard.
That's
At this point,
That's-
the innkeeper that you met, Viv, when he came to open up Mr. Butterbeer, comes over with a pot of coffee, 4 mugs, as well as a pitcher of what looks like a very dark ale, or something. He says, "Oh, and here's the breakfast porter." And he says, "Oh, breakfast coming right up." And he looks to you, Viv, and says, "Are you good with a normal breakfast, or do you have very specific requirements?" Or
Oh no, I'm fine with whatever you want to give me. Thank you.
coming right up. So he leaves it and
Butterbeer?
yes, sir. Yes, Nikita. I'm sorry. Terribly
Hey, now.
sorry. It's morning.
I'm the tired one, not you. Were you able to get in contact with anybody last night about butt trumpet or?
I sent a message out to contacts. I'm just waiting to hear when
Excellent.
they learn anything.
I appreciate that.
And as
Thank
soon
you,
as I
Spasiba.
find out, I'll let you know.
Appreciate it.
No problem. He goes, "Now, if you excuse me, I don't want to burn breakfast." So he
Oh,
goes, "I'm
yes.
here alone at the moment because really early."
Extra fiber.
I'll follow him back to the bar and grab a 5th mug. We don't want to
Okay.
forget Eldred. So.
Okay. Eldred says thank you.
No problem.
I pour
Well,
my coffee,
friend-
I chug the first cup, I pour another coffee, and then I let other people take it.
Oh, I try to stay away from caffeine. I hear that's bad for you. As he downs a whole glass of porter in one go. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Purifying alcohol. So, friends, I guess we could. We got to go to the colonnade, check, see if the guard have heard anything, and then I would say we got to get Viv added to the growing list of people on our excuse us for carrying weapons paper. And then who wants to go to the sewers and maybe look for some more missing kids? Because we still
guess
have a
it's
portion
your-
of that we didn't do.
But-
I am concerned, though, that maybe we should go and talk to Professor Sparklebottom about what we found, or do you think that should wait?
Ooh, we could drop
I
that
know
off.
Viv was looking for work, but
I mean, this is
I'm
all.
also concerned about Butt Trumpet. I didn't even sleep because she wasn't there. She makes these little peeping noises like a baby owl. You get used to them.
Really? Okay. I just assumed it was a soft mattress like me. Mm.
No. So
yeah,
I
we could drop
personally would
off
like
and-
to go on a rampage, but
I mean, it shouldn't take too long. That's her place of business is only what, like an hour. Eldred, was it like an hour away or something like that? Less than that by
It
foot.
says less than that. And
Yeah,
as
so-
you're saying this, Butterbeer brings out a number of plates and silverware for everybody. And he says,
Thank you.
coffee okay? Beer okay?
oh, it is
Mhm.
excellent. Specific.
Okay. I'm going to bring the food up. I'm going to bring it out family style so everyone can just help themselves rather than, because I only have two hands. And if you would be so kind, if being that no one's come in yet, I'm wondering where they are. If anyone comes in, just someone come in the kitchen and get me so that, they don't walk off with my, better whiskeys or anything like that.
Sure.
Yes, we'll stop thieves.
We will definitely not let them steal alcohol
You got it. Or anything
Mhm.
else, preferably.
or anything
Yes.
else.
Okay.
Alcohol priority.
And he runs back in. He goes, because it should be up like in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. So I'll be right back. Anyway,
I wonder where that phrase came from. 2 shakes of a lamb.
Yeah, why
Anyway,
is he shaking
I
lamb
haven't
tail?
heard it either.
yeah.
Somebody who stares at lamb's bums for some reason. I don't know.
Eldred just looks at you and tilts his head like, okay.
Okay, so we could stop by Sparkle Bottom
Yeah.
establishment and drop off the information, even if they're not there, and then or have a conversation with them and maybe also see if they have heard anything about Butt Trumpet as well, because I mean they walk in the same circles as her 2 previous masters, as far as I'm aware, personally.
Duh.
And then we could go to the guard, do the colonnade thing, and then sewer spelunking.
We finally get to see the
for
tentacle
kids.
insects.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tentacle
they really
insects.
don't need to. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The giant
I haven't
bugs I was
seen
talking
them
about.
yet, Viv.
They crawl on
They
the
tell
ceiling.
me they-
Gross.
They crawl. Oh.
They're
Yeah,
they're
one
ambush
grab.
predators with
They grab me.
they have a noro. Do they have some kind of toxin or poison that kind of can stun you on their
It's a goo.
tentacles?
You know if
for
there's a way
bus
to
guy?
like tip your arrows in it.
You know what?
I might try that. Okay.
Dang. I lost some sample. I had samples. I think they have gone awry, which is probably not great. That there's just random poison in bottles somewhere. Shit.
Oh no, that's not good at all. Actually,
Oh, they weren't even
Mildly
labeled
consumed.
either. They were
Yeah.
not labeled. They were just.
Eldred
Shit.
says, I may have thought that was my nightcap. I thought I slept really well last night.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the bug venom.
He goes, no, I had my
Building up a
normal nightcap."
tolerance. I like your idea.
He goes, I wish it was my
Yeah.
normal nightcap. And as he says this, Butterbeer comes out with this huge platter and puts it in the middle of the table, and it's all sorts of different meats, an extra large helping of bacon, and as well as some fried tomatoes, mushrooms, little sauteed spinach, and fried potatoes, just about anything you could want.
oh, wow.
At least
Thank
not
you.
spasiba.
Help yourself and enjoy. So,
Oh, thank
The
you
bacon
kindly.
here-
Oh,
It's really good,
Butterbeer,
Viv.
this is Viv. If you did not get her name before.
Viv, it's a pleasure. Will you be staying with us?
Oh, I mean, I have
might
a
work.
bit of a. Yeah, if I could, yes.
Okay. If the father spoke true, I believe I have a room that is opened up now. Is that correct?
Yes, we should. There, you have a room available. So,
Okay, so you have a room now,
she
unless
should be
you'd
able to
like to
stay there
share
just
with
fine.
anybody or anything like that. By the time you get back later today, I'll make sure it's cleaned for you because I believe there's some rabbit excrement on the floor at the moment. But I'll have that cleaned up and everything taken care of.
Okay. Thank you so much.
But there will be no
What?
sign of any of that. We have a clean establishment here.
Yes.
Wonderful.
It is
Thank
very
you so
clean.
much.
Despite our
What
best
color
efforts,
is the
he does
bunny?
keep it clean.
Butterbeer says yes, despite this group's very best efforts. They're very good at what they do.
Pay on time. That's what really
Like
matters.
sewers.
So as you dig
Just
into
think-
breakfast and everyone helps themselves, I'll know you can continue to speak as you like. Nikita and Gaius, give me a perception check, please.
I will try and perceive.
This
Well,
should be
I'm
fun.
glad I wait on a perception check. That's a nat 20. I see through space and time and perceive everything around me.
Well, that's not how that works, but you do notice what's going on. You see a young
Sorry, I
man.
tweeted it twice.
That's all right. The first one was really good. You see this too, Nikita. You see a young man run in and hand Butterbeer a message. Butterbeer hands him a couple coins. The boy leaves and he takes it and he looks at it and is reading this message. And then he looks up and looks over at the table.
All right,
Well-
I'm up like a shot and I'm going over to him.
Okay.
I take a shot.
Meanwhile, Gaius
But
is
thank you.
taking shots. Everybody
Best
but
way to start your
Nikita.
day.
Everybody but Nikita, if you could take off your headphones, and then when it's time to put it on, I'll go like this. Okay.
Right.
Okay, Nikita. Butterbeer says, it's like you knew. He says, yes, I have some information for you.
Excellent, excellent.
Well, it's not great news, but it is news. We'll start with the easy thing. This person Mamoulian, you asked me to see if anyone knew.
Duh.
Hardly anyone knows who he is. There are a few people who seem to have heard of him. All they know is he's a really old wizard. That's like the people who had heard of him, that's all they know. Okay? So
Nothing about the location or...
Well, for the simple fact that no one seems to know anything about him, I would assume that he's not from Seven Rivers.
Interesting.
So,
That had not occurred to me. I thought that fucker was local. Okay.
because if he was local, even if he was a major hermit, someone would have knew who he was. More
Nah.
people would have known who he was. The other thing is your little blue friend.
Duh.
It seems that word has gotten out that someone is offering a lot of money, a fair amount of money for a little blue goblet.
Offering money. Who is doing the offering?
Well, I'm not 100% sure. This doesn't say who. It's just that a contract has been put out amongst the populace that money will be paid for a little blue goblet. Now, the contact person
Duh.
seems to be someone who goes by the name of the Matchmaker. And I'm not
Okay.
familiar with this person, but my connections say that they can be found down by the docks at a pub called the Dirty Mermaid.
Dirty mermaid. Good lord.
Now, I'm familiar with the Dirty Mermaid.
Duh.
It is not a nice place in an even worse part of the docks. And the docks aren't great to
Ugh.
begin with. So
Gotcha.
just watch yourself and your friends while you're down there. I think it'd probably be safe to say trust no one down there.
Understandable.
And that's what I
Uh,
have.
okay. I'm still hoping to hear back on this Bartleby Nickleby fellow, or I might just drop by his tower. But I appreciate that very much.
Okay, did you send something to him?
No, he is able to talk to Butt Trumpet brain to brain.
Ah, that's magic stuff. I can't help with that.
Da. But I'm hoping he can get the message maybe to her or find out she's okay, that kind of thing.
No, that would be
It's a
great. That would
long
be
shot,
great.
but-
No, that sounds
Yeah.
wonderful. That sounds like a brilliant idea. Yeah, no, that definitely sounds like a viable option.
And then find out where she is, if she knows, that kind of thing. Did they say how much they're offering for the little blue goblet?
What I heard was a lot good coin, I think is the way it was phrased. And good coin usually means more than a normal contract. A normal basic contract.
Great. Well, shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of what I
Thank
was
you
thinking
very
when I read
much.
it. If I
Yeah.
can be of any more help, you let me know.
Will do.
Your friend's a
have
a
been a great-
sweetheart.
She is. They are.
Okay.
Spasiba.
Likewise, I'm sure. Okay, you see Nikita talking to Butterbeer for a fair amount of time, and then she comes back to the table.
I have neutral news and bad news. Which would you like first? I guess it's just the information and then bad.
Gaius, we can't hear you.
Do you prefer the bad news first, or? I think you are
I was
still.
Thank you,
gonna
Reed.
first.
Oh, the shot took a little. Let me wash it down with a little bit more. Yeah,
I think that means bad news first.
Butterbeer comes over with two glasses of whiskeys, put them down in front of you guys, and said, "I heard you say shots, so I just assumed they put them down in front of you."
Yeah, so start with the bad one as he lifts the glass slowly to his lips.
Yeah. Does anyone want any more coffee? Or
I can
drinking
bring
it?
another pitcher. And Butterbeer takes the pitcher off the table and the pot off the
Oh,
table.
I was gonna chug the pitcher. So
He
Oh my gosh.
pours it down and tops everyone off. More coming
You
up.
have
Spasiba.
fire
Back to-
resistance.
Tell me, Nikita,
Nope.
the suspense is killing me.
Oh yes,
I-
yes, the bad
Da.
news.
The bad news. There is someone who has put out a bounty on Butt Trumpet.
Mm,
And that's the one we're looking for.
Da.
that's
Our
the one
friend,
party
the
member
Blue
who's correct.
Goblet.
Yep.
All right.
They are offering good coin, which is probably, more than the usual just fucking find somebody. But they are offering good coin for a little blue goblet. And the contact person is down on the docks at a bar called the Dirty Mermaid. They go by the Matchmaker. Does that ring a bell? That kind of rings a weird bell.
The matchmaker. Or the dirty mermaid.
Either, but I was thinking Matchmaker.
Both don't sound good at all.
No, it does not.
Okay, so
Does that
that's a
mean you
lead we
think
could
he
definitely
makes
follow
matches?
up on.
That
Like,
would be,
about
I
the
think,
neutral
the
news?
nicest thing to think.
Or do you think he makes people get together as like a couple?
I actually where
would be
my mind
ideal.
went first to read. I won't lie. Didn't even think
You would
about
think. Go ahead.
Eldred goes, did
No.
they say that the contract said creepy old guy, single, looking for unattached little blue goblet?
Nice.
That is not
they
the
could have a
information I was given, no.
misconnection.
Just
That could be
wondering.
with
What
that
about
other
neutral news?
bad wizard. That other bad wizard might fit that description, right?
It could be Mamulian putting out, I know. Speaking of Mamulian, the neutral news information, too many B's. Butterbeer doesn't think Mamulian lives in Seven Rivers because almost nobody has heard of this prick, and the ones that have heard of him just know that he is very old. So he might not even live in the city, and I was hoping to fucking knock his door down. So that's not gonna work. But maybe we
I hate
start
to
with the
be-
matchmaker. But sorry?
I hate to be like, oh, I'm new, but who is Mammalian?
Is Venita. I forgot about that. Oh boy. So, but Trumpet has not had an easy life. She used to be a slave for Mamulian, essentially. He's kind of this evil wizard prick. He then bet her in a card game to another wizard named Alistair, who won, and then who treated her better. And then his tower blew up, and that's when we found them.
All right.
I know, it's a lot of information. I write
Eldred
everything
says,
down
I
because
don't
my-
remember cards being mentioned, but yeah, basically.
I
was
thought
probably
it was a
cards.
bet for some
It was a
reason.
wager.
Brain
I
said
remember
card.
that. I just don't remember what the deal with the wager was.
I see.
After Alistair's,
So-
I'm
after
looking for the
Alistair's
stuff.
Trump tower blew up, it turned into this taller, evilly looking thing. Like no doors.
Yeah, is that
no
still
Yes,
going on? Like, is that still going on in the background whenever we're walking outside? Turn and look.
I
Is
think
that
so.
tower just getting weirder and creepier looking?
You heard the town crier mention it, that they've now cordoned off the area because it continues to change and grow.
Yeah, magic's fun.
So
Wow.
that's another part of that fun story. Did we want to do a walk by? Do we want to go straight to the docks? Do you still want to do Sparkle Bottom? And then there's the sewers. I have a
Well,
list.
we could.
I will happily help you
we
run
could,
errands.
we could put everything we found out in a letter to Sparkle Bottom, and have Butterbeer
Okay.
pass that information along through a courier, and then, or we. But I mean, really, the pressing matter is our kind of like missing friend. This dirty mermaid. I mean, we should go talk to the guard and let them know what we've also found out about who put
Duh.
out a basically wanted poster. Or is there a poster? Is that a thing, or is it just
The
like a
poster was
descriptor?
not mentioned, just that a
Just a bounty.
Just
yeah,
the bounty.
a bounty.
That a
Someone
bounty
is
was put
offering
out.
money.
Maybe the guard know a little bit more about Matchmaker. Did Butterbeer recognize the name at all?
I don't believe so, but I can't remember if I asked him.
Oh, it's all right. I mean, I'm sure if he had information, he would have relayed it to you if he was
He
aware
would have.
of that.
What he did mention is that this dirty mermaid in this area of the docks is just bad news. Don't trust anybody. It's a good thing we can walk around in our armor with our weapons.
Excellent. So, I guess the first
Done.
order of business is then getting Viv added to the list, so we're all on the up and up with the
Done.
guard in case
Wonderful.
it gets bloody. At the
It's
Dirty
about this
Mermaid.
point that Butterbeer comes back with another pot of coffee, sets it down, says, looks to you, Nikita, and says, did you share that information or no?
I just did. I did my best to relay all of it. Do you happen to know this matchmaker? Or I can't remember if you mentioned.
I am not familiar with this person, but
Oh, okay.
from just the fact that they seem to do business out of the Mermaid, being that it's still super early, they might still be at the Mermaid, because people who do business at the Mermaid usually do it in the night hours, and sometimes those nights go into early morning. Can't be sure. You can wait till tonight, but if you've lost your friend and they put a bounty on and they put a contract out on them, people have a tendency to want their money pretty quickly. So just something to consider.
So the docks. This is more Gaius trying to remember and monologuing about it in his head. That's on the west side. There's no docks
Exposition.
on.
There's tons of docks on the
east.
eastern side, but they're mostly fishing docks. The commercial
But then-
docks are all on the west side.
And that's where the
I had
Grognard
assumed
is.
Eastern. I'm glad you did that. Thank you.
Just monologuing clarification for the group at large. Okay.
And he says the docks are as long as the coast within the city walls. So you want to go down
Efficient.
the western part of the docks, kind of near where the warehouse district starts coming to an end. You'll know because everything just starts getting seedier. And you'll know, many blocks in advance before you get down that way. Because things just take a turn for the worse pretty early. The docks aren't great to begin with, but this part of the docks, all sorts of, that's where people go for illicit substances, for illicit business, pretty much anything you can think of can usually be had down there,
Shady stuff.
to say the least, yeah.
Well, friends, it sounds like we need to leave sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Very well.
If we want to catch it, like, nowish, in case, because obviously somebody has butt trumpet.
Reed shoves 2 handfuls of bacon in his mouth. He's like, "Oh, go get dressed." Oh. And he runs up to his room.
As he does that, everyone give me a perception check.
Oh, God. What exactly are we pursuing? How much bacon can
Thank
he fit in his
Bacchus,
mouth?
I rolled low. I only got a 10 that time.
21.
Well, you're going to perceive more than you probably want.
Okay.
No.
The two young ladies notice that as Reed runs up the stairs, the trapdoor on the back of his footy pajamas is down.
Oh, I totally called that. You look at Gaius and he's purposely just staring up at the ceiling. He's like, yeah, it's a grain of wood that is... He's upstairs now, right? Because I'm almost certain I
Yeah,
knew what was
he's
happening.
gone now.
Okay. Oh, thank Bacchus. All right.
It wasn't
So,
even
I
covered by
guess-
the bunny.
I don't want to have a conversation about
No,
it.
I must share my pain.
Did you take the bunny
I'm
with
not
you,
listening anymore.
Reed?
Yeah, I had the bunny with me.
Okay.
Well, time to get ready for the day. And then
No.
Gaius just reached down, pulled out the backpack, opens it up. Split mail. Good. All right. Ready to roll.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Checks the
Should we
wineskin,
whip off a
spiel 'em.
letter to... Sorry,
Yes. Yes. You're right, Pinky.
Sparkle Bottom?
Sparkle bottle. Mm-hmm.
Just done. Whip off a letter type of thing?
Yeah. Guys digs into
it
the
can
back,
wait.
pulls out the splint mail. Oh, it's Reed. We got a little bit of time. Reaching down,
Yeah.
pulls out some old pamphlets about Bacchus and Nube, puts those back off to the side, pulls out parchment, puts it down and just starts laboriously so then and looking at the letters that he has that he found, and he's gonna just give the highlights, I guess.
Eldred looks at you and
Don't
says,
forget
you
the
know,
things.
you might want to make it easy and just She seems like a busy woman. Just address it and say, we have news on the house that we discussed. Within the next few
When can
days,
we
we'll
meet?
stop by and see you, or you can come visit us some evening at the Stone's Throw.
Oh, God, he crumps up the parchment. Thinks about throwing. He's like, no, I could probably use that for something else. Puts it down. We have info, and then just like picks a couple highlights from the letters, like this. Talk to you soon, I hope. Guys and friends. Folds it up. Butterbeer, my friend. Are you here in the room with me?
He's over at the bar. And he comes over. He says, "Yes, Father."
Do you know Sparklebottom, right? You're or at least aware of them as a person within the school, the university?
Well, I'm not acquainted, but the Ratskeller, correct?
Yes. The place of business is they do most of their work at the Ratskeller, but also from the university. I just was
okay,
wondering.
yeah.
You're aware of who they are, yes?
I am aware of them, yes, because
Okay. Just seeing as we're going to be leaving and hopefully trying to rescue Bud Trumpet in the near future, this letter is for her. It's not like a priority mail or anything. Just I figure you know what kid to hire or whatever to get the message to the right person.
okay, so you need a letter sent to Professor Sparklebottom.
Yes, and right here, and then he slaps down a gold piece. He's like, for the trouble, and then you can use whatever difference for the kid.
I'll put it on your bill. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Thank
Probably
you.
the best thing to do would be to deliver it to the university. She'll be more than likely to get it quicker that way.
Yeah, I leave that up to you, Butterbeer. You are way better at knowing where you have much better contacts in the city than I.
Well,
Thank
knowing the quality of the employees at the Ratskeller, the university would be a much more reliable place.
There you go. That's why I ask you these questions.
I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
You guys all hear a big thud as like Reed slams into the wall at the top of the stairs. He's like, "Bang! I'm ready! I'm ready! I'm ready! I got everything."
Ah,
I left the
Eldred
bunny-
says,
I left the bunny
methinks
upstairs."
our dexterous thief has returned.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Viv and say, yes, he's the quiet one.
I can be quiet.
I can be reasonably quiet depending upon what I'm wearing at the time.
I can be pretty quiet as well.
Oh,
Excellent.
good.
I
Excellent.
Eldred says, you're with the right group then. That's wonderful.
Awesome.
Well, then, I guess we hit the old dusty trail, right?
Okay.
Down to the docks, right?
Is that where you're headed, to the docks?
Stop at the colonnade to the guard real quick,
Da.
because we got to add Viv to the list.
Okay. You start heading out. The streets are plenty of people out on the streets. You go the way you're used to down to the colonnade. You go around skirting the edge of the market. Every now and then,
I got
one of
so
you might
lost here
spot a
and there.
bunny here or there in the alleyway, sitting behind a crate or a barrel. After about an hour and a half, I think. By the way, the market this time of day is bustling. Lots of people there. You make it down to the colonnade.
Great. Is
I
Marcus
can't
the
believe your
guard
friend
on
made this many
duty?
bunnies.
What was that, Viv?
I just said, I can't believe your friend made this many bunnies.
Well,
Neither
It
can
might be
we.
multiple.
I don't think there's... Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're reproducing at a horrifying rate, I think, is the right word I'm using.
I think it's a wonderful.
I haven't seen a rat in days, though, so I guess there's a plus there. The bunnies
What if
eat
there's
the
bunnies
rats,
in the
is
sewers?
what I'm saying.
Is Marcus the guard on duty?
You don't recognize either of the guards.
Yep.
Neither of these, you haven't seen either of these before. And they go, halt,
Okay.
state your business.
Halting.
The
The coffee is kicked
is-
in now, and I'm slightly vibrating.
Okay.
Is Captain Moses or the quartermaster in
Quartermaster.
Viv, what?
Nope.
I hand over the documentation I have from the guard about the responsibility. We have we were sent a new person to add to the party, and gesture over toward Viv. We just wanted to make sure she was added to the proper documentation, so there's no problems when we start,
Okay.
working over on the west side.
I'll be right back. It's a little early in the day for the quartermaster or the captain, but I'll be right back.
You figured. Thank you.
Goes in.
Luciba.
And
So I look at the other guard and, what's your name?
He looks at you and says, Smithers, ma'am.
Nice to meet you, Smithers. I am Nikita. I have had a lot of coffee. How are you doing?
I'm feeling very well informed, thank you.
Have you had coffee too?
Excellent.
I'm waiting to get off my duty to partake, but I plan to.
Coffee's good.
Coffee's great.
Wine's better.
I am fond of it.
Whiskey's
I like
quicker.
wine too.
Whiskey is quicker. Doesn't necessarily make it better, though.
Depends on what
It's a
bars
taste
you
thing.
frequent, he says.
True.
You see the other guard come out, and with a tall female elven, as a matter of fact, and very fair skin, long reddish hair pulled back in a braid that looks to have streaks of gold within it. Looks and says, I understand you have a document that needs to be changed?
Yes, and Gaius gestures toward it. We're currently working on the missing kids issue and the stuff down in the sewers. The quartermaster Octavia introduced us, or sent Viv here our way to potentially add to our party for work. And we just wanted to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Ah, very good. Okay, and it looks to you, Viv, and says, you are going to be working with this crew from now on?
Yes, I believe so.
And what is your full name?
Vivalda Orkin.
Very well. Takes the paper and says, I'll take care of this right now. And goes inside, and you're left with the two
Thank
guards.
you. Smithers, what's his name?
Their name? Was that a
Their
female
name.
or a male
I thought-
elf?
It was a female.
Female.
No, I meant, sorry, the other guard, not the actual elf.
Oh.
The guard looks at you and says, Ash, madam, I'm right here.
Yes, sorry. I'm wired on coffee and being weird. And what is the elven lady's name?
Ah. That's Sergeant Takasha.
Sergeant. I write these things down because I have a terrible memory. I don't think the coffee affects it, though. How did you spell that last name?
Tikasha.
Takasha. Spasiba. That's thank you. Sorry. Are you off soon, too?
Yes, madam. Miss.
Oh,
Terribly
that's
sorry.
excellent. No need to apologize. They have very good
I'm
coffee.
excited to have my
systems, so-
weapons back.
Well, it's just
we're
so
kinda
once we
like
cross the
we're
bridge,
like the big heroes. Yeah, we're the big heroes around here.
I
We went in
wouldn't
the
go as
sewers.
far as most of that's not true.
That's true.
Have you all rescued a lot of people? And
Nope.
Mostly
We're
each
still
other.
working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mostly
that is
each other.
true.
This is true.
Our good friend Reed
Guys
here has
rescued
rescued bunnies.
Yeah.
that's still very
Yeah.
noble.
One at least.
And Nikita was being assaulted by
The
Gro-
wraith things,
Mist-
the shadow things,
Mist
and
the
the
Wraith,
fart
yeah.
cloud. God.
Oh god, we haven't even brought that up, have we? Oh,
And-
well,
and
hey,
most
I
recently-
assume you didn't come.
Nikita was attacked by a rug.
A rug.
This is true, but that was in the house that not everybody can see. Oh, yeah, we're overloading her.
You just
think?
watch as like her eyes are like darting back and forth, trying to calculate everything you're saying at the same time.
We've seen
Yeah.
some shit.
It's
Oh,
And you
that
won't
shit
even
is
believe the
I'm-
crap I said.
Eldred says, and actually, literally.
I believe it.
Thank you, Eldred.
Well, I'm excited to learn quite a bit from you all.
If
Well-
you're new to Seven Rivers, though, I have never eaten so
We're not
good
the people.
or drank so much stuff. It's good food and stuff.
Wonderful. Yes,
It's
I
gross how
haven't
much
been
it
here before.
consumes.
The sergeant
May
comes
I ask
back
what-
out. Oh, the sergeant
No, go
comes
ahead.
back out and hands you the document, Gaius, and says, just to reiterate, the terms of this agreement are good in the eastern districts. You're aware of that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to
Oh.
make sure.
Yes, the bad side of town.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Well, we don't like to judge. It is the less favorable to some, but for others, it is their home.
Oh, yes, no, I just noticed that
You just don't
the
patrol
guard.
She kind of looks at you, and her eyes kind of narrow a little bit.
Forgive
Nikita,
her,
no.
Sergeant. She's had too much coffee, and it makes her ornery.
Nah, this is true.
I
Well,
just
just-
was going to say that you patrol this area quite well, and it's understandable that that's why we need this document to go to the other side. Not the guard's fault, mind you.
Very
Everybody
good. I
has
just
their
want to
own
make sure you
masters.
were aware because there are consequences to be paid for not sticking within your boundaries of the document. Just so you're aware.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
no, it's much obliged.
She turns and goes back in, but not before Nikita eyeing you one more time, kind of looking down her nose a little bit at you, and then turns around and goes back in.
Nikita, you're so good at making friends. Never mind.
If she's going to give us shit, I'm going to call her out. Yes, I'm wired on coffee. But this is probably, you want the western side docks?
Is the Dirty Mermaid? Am I misremembering? Is the Dirty Mermaid on the west or the east side? Paul.
The West. It was assumed the West, right? So the East side was all the fishing.
It was the commercial side with the eastern side was mostly fish. Fishy, 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 fishy. I'm done.
But so the mermaid was on the east. What? Well, God. Okay.
West.
Maybe we should ask somebody.
I
I'm
have
going
no
to
idea
ask
what
somebody.
anything is. It took me hours to find the stone's throw yesterday, so don't ask me.
It's okay. None of us are city folk. We're going to be asking
know
a lot
that.
of people where things are.
Where are you
Okay,
from?
so let's.
Pretty much the forest.
We could, I guess we'll ask the guards by the bridge which side might have the dirty mermaid. I'm sure someone's got to know.
Okay, so you go over to the
That
bridge.
sounds good.
Well, yeah, because from the colonnade, the bridge is toward the docks, right?
No, it's towards the eastern districts.
Well, there's docks both in the east and western district, right?
Correct. But Fishtown is in
Yeah.
the eastern districts
Okay,
with all the fishing villages around there.
gotcha.
And the commercial docks are on the western side. And the colonnade comes down, and then if you go east, you'll hit the bridge.
Gotcha. So I guess,
Not far.
Shit, we're heading
It's
toward-
not a long
yeah.
walk from there,
Yeah.
and you know that there's going to be a fair number of guards there.
Yeah. So I'll head to the bridge and ask, like, hey, random guardsman, hi. Do you
He
happen to
yawns and
know-
says, "Yes, sir. What can I do for you?"
I don't really want to go to this place, but have you heard of a place called the Dirty Mermaid?
He kind of looks at you a little confused and looks at his friend who looks back at him and says, the place on the docks?
Well, yeah, you guys have plenty of docks here. Which, like, is it on this side of the bridge, the other side of the bridge?
He points
Commercial
back the
district,
way you
fish.
came, says, walk to the water. When you
Yep.
come to the boardwalk and the docks, keep walking. And
Mhm.
when you get to the area where you feel like you're surrounded by people who want to kill you, that's probably the best place to start looking.
Oh, here on the
Right.
west side of town.
Yes.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for the information.
He goes,
Uh,
plenty of nice bars up in the
well
up
aware.
in the Jubilee Quarter. Most of those go 24/7.
Oh, really?
so-
What's your favorite?
Ah. Give me 2 seconds. I'll think about it.
Hot shoes.
Random name generator go.
No, I have it listed. The Broken Drum.
Excellent.
Drum.
Broken Drum. We will check that out. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So move a reasonable distance away from the guard. All right, guys, huddle up on this side of town. We can't necessarily use our weapons or armor.
What is the punishment?
Depends which offense it is. If first time, it might be prison time plus a fine. After that, depends on the. It also depends the first time if there's any fatalities. But eventually, it's death.
Yeah. So
What about
good
just straight
news
magic?
is
Pardon me?
Sorry.
same
Straight
thing.
magic.
Straight magic.
Straight what?
Magic use.
Straight magic use. Well,
Like
As
if I
opposed to
hit
weapons?
somebody real hard with magic and they die from it, yeah,
that's assault. That's a problem.
Just checking.
that's
The
Yes,
guards
anyway.
kind
What
of
if
look
the
at each
other
other
person
and look at
started
you.
it?
What?
Oh no, Paul, sorry. We stepped away from the guards. I didn't want to have this conversation in front of them.
Okay. At no point did you say you
Specifically.
stepped away. So you were
Oh.
actually
You did, you
speaking. You were speaking to the
I-
guards, asking for the what the
Read
What the
back me up
punishment
on this,
was.
buddy.
what?
No,
Yeah,
oh no. We
you
stepped
missed,
away
you
from
missed
that.
it, Paul. He did say we stepped away.
Okay, it's just when Nikita's asking what the punishment is. I assumed you're asking the guards. Because
Mm-mm.
otherwise, how would you?
I
I
know?
assume we
apologize.
probably
I was-
heard.
Okay, what we'll do is we'll say you walked off. Nikita stayed and
Yeah.
talked to the guards about what the punishment is.
Oh crap.
Okay.
That makes sense. Okay.
I'll say I'm with
That makes
Nikita real
perfect
quick.
sense. Okay, it's like I turn, I'm like, okay, gang, and then I look and I'm like, shit. Oh shit!
Yep, I'm doing it.
That's
Okay,
What
so
if the other person
we're using
started the
that. What if it's
fight?
healing magic? I'm being annoying. Okay, what if they attack you
Healing
first?
magic. Yes, exactly.
It depends if there's a guard witnessing this, miss. We
So if
like
they
to
attack
keep a...
first, yell for a guard,
Yes, that'd probably be a
And-
good idea.
and then defend you. Okay, got it.
I like this. I like this. Thank you, Viv.
Yes, we can,
Thank
we
you,
can work
guards.
with this. Thank you.
They look at you strangely and... Okay, so... Any more questions for the guards there, ladies?
Nope.
Okay, what are you doing?
Catching up.
Walking over to Gaius.
Okay, guys, what are you doing?
Oh. I'm gonna. Okay, so we can't use our
Sorry,
weapons.
we were just asking. Yes.
Guys, give me a perception check, please.
All right.
I lean in and whisper to Viv, I live for
Not
getting
very
him this
attentive.
pistol.
Not very attentive, apparently.
Okay. You see some of the guards talking to each other and kind of looking at Nikita and Viv as they walk away. It doesn't look like a positive conversation, but that's all you know.
All right. So can't use our weapons because of the peace bond stuff on this side, sadly. Also, can't wear any obvious armor. At which point, Gaius kind of like unbuttons his shirt and shows the studded leather he has hidden underneath. Though, if you do have light armor, you can hide it. And when it buttons back up again.
That's what I got too.
Yeah. This is me in stealth mode right now.
Mine is
But if
regular
not,
leather armor. They didn't seem to have an issue with it, so.
Oh yeah, you'll be fine then. But sadly,
Eldred
us,
says it is
us.
safer if you just wear a cloak or something, so it's not like you're advertising, it seems.
Sure.
Yeah. But sadly, us who usually like to wear the heavier stuff can't get away with it on this side of town, sadly.
Nikita, what are you... I feel weird saying this, but what armor, if anything, are you wearing?
Who are you wearing right now?
Exactly.
Excuse me. Miss
Gucci.
Nikita, and who are you wearing this evening at the crappy parts of the docks? And we hope you'll be enjoying the
I'm wearing my
festivities here within.
I'm wearing my sewer rags.
He's in my sewer rags.
Ah, another person wearing
I'm
house de sewer.
Basically.
What was that?
I've like got one arm out and I'm working on getting the other arm out, but I'm a little stuck. I'm like, I'm taking it off.
Oh, the chainmail?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'll pop that in the bag and I'll pull out the nice leather jacket.
Okay.
There you
I'll
go.
show it to Gaius.
That's
See,
my
I
good-
haven't damaged it yet.
I know. Try not to get too much blood on it in the next few hours, please.
I will try.
Or
but
if
that
you
could be
do,
hard.
make sure it's others and not yours. At the very least.
Sure, you're aware a
actually
leather
laughed.
jacket doesn't act like leather armor, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make
Just a
sure.
good-looking coat.
Okay.
Yep.
You still use your shield, though, if we get into trouble.
Yeah.
Da.
Okay. Now that you've established what everyone is wearing for the gala, what are you doing?
Heading down to the docks and then
Okay.
going west until we feel like we might get stabbed and looking for apparently a very dirty mermaid.
Okay. You head down it basically the docks come almost right up to the bridge, but the activity is probably the equivalent of like 2 city blocks away from the bridge where things actually start happening. The docks go as far as the eye can see. and it's going to be a long walk down there. But as you go, you see lots of ships docked here. You see quite a few out in the lake, just kind of sitting there. It's possible they're waiting to come in. It's possible they just went out and are waiting. It's possible could be something else. The ships run the gamut. There are some fishing vessels that look a little bigger than the ones you would see when you were in the Eastern District in Fishtown. There's obvious merchant ships. There's ones that are even larger than that. There's something that looks like it might be actually a warship of some sort. You see a number of ships that you can't really make out what they are, but from the sailors that seem to be around them, they seem to be a rather ragtag bunch, some of them looking rather dangerous and unsavory. There's stuff being taken off the ships, and there's stuff being put on other ships. It's bustling this morning here on the docks. You see all sorts of things as you go down. Lots of seagulls. You see all manner of businesses opposite the docks. You see side streets and alleys. A lot of the stuff that seems to be coming off the ships quite often will go down some of these side streets, some of the bigger streets, and you can tell from looking down these streets that a couple blocks down from there, you start to hit the beginning of the warehouse district. So stuff might be headed there. It's a totally...
What do the people around here look like?
It's a totally different class of people down here on the docks. It's
sailors and longshoremen, right?
A lot of sailors, a lot of laborers, a lot of very heavily weathered-looking people, all races and colors and just anything you can imagine. You're seeing people that are, people the likes you've never seen before. And you're seeing styles of clothing and things that look like they must come from far away. Some that are not normally worn in this area. Some that look like they might be too warm for this area. Some that look like you're wondering how they aren't cold in how little they're wearing. Because it's just like these very thin, gauzy coverings, and you see lots of weathered, rough-looking people who look like they've seen some crap. Every now and then you see somebody missing a limb or an eye or an ear, or a couple people missing a nose. You see gnomes, you see goblins, you see dwarves. Not as many dwarves, but you do see a number of them. Humans. You see a fair number of ogres. There are a fair number of ogres who are moving large barrels and crates back and forth. Couple other things that you've never seen before, creatures that seem to be working as well. And you see a lot of sailor garb of all manners. Some flashy, some the exact opposite of flashy, some just downright spare, and a lot in really bad shape. You see people barefoot, you see people booted, you see people with the long coats, with the braiding and the gold buttons and the fancy hats and the plumes, who seem to be giving orders to people of all manner. And with all of this, you see men, women, you see people you're not quite sure. You see everything as you're going along. You see people sitting on the side, smoking pipes, smoking cigars, carving bones, tusks. You see them, playing some instruments here and there as they're sitting along the sides. You pass by a lot of taverns and pubs all of them seem to be hopping. And which is weird because this is the time of day that basically you are usually just waking up.
It's very busy.
If I can
Any
pick
sign-
out a, I was just gonna say if I can pick out a dwarf that doesn't look like they want to kill the first person that talks to them,
Okay.
I'll just ask them. I'll approach and I'll just say, "Looking for the dirty mermaid anywhere around here?"
It was, lad, the Dirty Mermaid is, you've got quite a ways to go, and, the likes of you, I hope you have friends, and I hope they're big, and I hope they're good with a weapon.
I can take care of myself.
I'm sure you can. Lots of luck with that.
Thanks.
Puffs
Thanks.
on
I
his
am pretty
pipe.
lucky, so thank you.
Ah,
Vivalda just kind of tries to stand taller.
he says, are you with him, lassie?
Yeah.
Look out for him. People eat the likes of him down there.
Sure thing.
No, really. I can,
Wait,
I can
like
take care of myself.
literally?
Come on.
Depending on where they're in, what ship they came in on, it's quite possible.
Sounds like we're going to have a great time.
I am really looking forward to this.
I am too, actually.
Uh-oh.
I haven't had a good tavern brawl in ages.
I've never
Actually,
had
it's only
tavern
been a
brawl.
few days.
That's
Yeah,
true.
but this one we got to make this. Yeah, oh yeah. Well, that was we killed them. I don't know if we should be doing that here, though.
Eldred
Aw.
goes,
Viv, I
it's,
almost forgot to tell you.
one tavern brawl leads into the next. It's tough to keep track.
Viv, that was like our most heroic thing. We went and saved a friend from a bar full of bad guys. And he got
Nice.
shot with arrows, and we still saved him. Yeah.
Wow. Good job.
Yeah, thanks. I shot a guy on a roof. It was cool.
Oh.
So we gotta keep going down the docks this way, guys.
Yes.
Okay, you go for about an hour and a half, believe it or not, because it is
God.
movement is not fast here on the docks because you're constantly dodging people going back and forth and walking around, and you also can't help but be amazed by what you see because you're seeing the likes of people that you couldn't even imagine existed. Because most of you kind of are used to where you came from, and coming to the city, you've had your eyes open to a wealth of things, but this is a whole nother chapter of that. So you go, and eventually the commerce seems to be slowing down a little bit. The amount of people still seems to be the same, but there seems to be a lot more people just kind of hanging out. Some out by the docks. Some, you see a number of people just kind of standing in alleyways, sometimes in the shadows. Sometimes they're just kind of standing at the side of buildings. The ships that are docked also start changing. It seems to be a lot more of the not as many commercial, official looking vessels as different types of vessels that definitely commercial is not the word you would use. It's some of them that have looked like they've seen better days. Some of them look like they have seen some action. Some of them look like they're pieced together from bits of other ships. And a lot of them have crews that look less than savory. And as you start getting here, in the distance, you can just make out the city walls in the distance, but they're very small. And you start delving into this area, and Gaius and Nikita, give me a perception check, please.
Reed starts looking just to see if anybody else is like openly carrying weapons and things like that.
Okay.
22.
That'll do. Okay. You know what? Reed, give me a perception check as well, please. Very good. You're seeing a lot of swords, a lot of rapiers, a lot of daggers. You see someone with a bandolier of nothing but daggers, kind of hanging out by a building. You see a lot of cutlasses, and you notice the
no
piece,
guards around telling anybody.
You see maybe in the whole time from when things changed, you saw one pair of guards just kind of like walking down the docks, and it was kind of like watching the wake of a ship, but in reverse, because as they're coming, people just kind of peeled off and like walked towards ships or walked down alleys or walked into buildings. And then after they passed, they just kind of peeled back onto the docks. But Nikita and Gaius, what I was going to say was, as you walk, all of a sudden both of you have this little ping go off in your head like, it must be around here.
Mm.
And Gaius, I'm going to say with your roll, you go about 3 more city blocks, and the first thing you see is a large building, and the sign outside says Dockworkers Guild Hall. And there's a small side street, and on the other side you see the sign for the Dirty Mermaid. And the sign is kind of long and wide. It's a carved wooden picture of a mermaid posed in a very seductive pose, lying on their side. Except that this mermaid has seen better in much younger days. They're smoking a cigar, have a drink in one hand, and have a face that's not unlike Betty Davis in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
That is weirdly specific.
As is the sign.
Well, found it. Unless there's another mermaid-themed one nearby, but this kind of fits the
I feel like
description.
this is it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
Concur. Should we loosen the peace bonds?
I mean, I'll just beat people to death with a chair if I need to, but you could loosen the bonds.
I definitely loosen the bonds.
Whatever works. This second.
I loosen. I have my dagger a little bit ready.
Guys, just yeah. I love the hands-on approach to assisting people to Bacchus.
I'm assuming you don't want me to like sneak around back or anything.
Oh
No.
no, let's stay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not have you wander off, and then we need another party member to
Okay.
fill out
Eldred says, you know what, I think that would normally be a good idea. I think it'd be tempting fate a little bit when we just had someone say that people kind of, quote unquote, like to eat the likes of you.
Oh
So
yeah,
you-
we
Take care
literally
of
had.
myself. Come on.
So you going off, we don't want anyone to think you're takeout.
You're literally
And you smell
pre-seasoned.
like
You
bacon.
have bacon in your pockets.
And you
I was
smell
gonna
like
say.
bacon, yeah.
I get the
Yep,
feeling
bacon.
they're
Just
more
stay
like
close,
cheaters or
Gaius and I.
All right.
Do you want to head in first,
make it.
Gaius, or do you want me to?
You can go.
You know what? Yes, why don't you two belligerently lead the way?
Are you actually asking?
Excellent.
Hey, if
can.
you feel like it, you
Sure.
certainly can. Have fun. I wonder if this is the kind of place that like nails down their chairs to make it more difficult for you
If
to
they're
use them as
smart.
You have to
weapons.
make a
That.
spiritual chair. Spiritual chair.
Yeah, spiritual. Yeah,
Spiritual chair.
I was surprised. Most dwarven pubs, they nail them down.
Really?
yeah.
Dwarven pubs.
I thought you just made it of stone, so it's a pain in the ass to pick up.
Yeah, that's the other choice. If they're wood, you nail them down. Otherwise, they're stone. And if someone picks that up, you get the fuck out.
Ladies, lead the way.
Yes.
So I step in. I've got one hand on my sword, but, you know, just resting there, not looking too threatening.
Okay.
I'm pretty much the
just kind
same
of
way.
eyeballing the room. This looks like a general entrance. What do we got here?
It's just a kind of a there's it in the upper corner there's a opening out into it opens out, but
Okay.
the section you're in now is just a closed off area.
Is there anyone in here eyeballing us yet, or should we keep going?
There's no one in the room you're in, no. And it's not even a room, it's like an entryway.
Gotcha.
Okay, as
What a
you get
fancy
up
place
to
they
the
have
entrance
for it.
there and walk in, it is hopping. It is really, really busy. Now, here's what you see. It's small, but it's pretty well packed. There is a second floor balcony that goes the entire length around the bar area. You see a number of people up there just kind of standing, looking down. And you can see, you know, past these people, there are a number of doors. The first thing you're struck by is the darkness. And then the second thing that hits you is the smell. It's the smell of the unwashed sweat and urine tied together with the notes of the fireplace and the sour smell of spoiled beer. It's really dark in here, but the different slices of life that are represented here are pretty obvious. There are the sailors and the laborers that you've come to see along this section of the docks, plus you can smell them right off the bat. But then there's just a lot of nondescript people, as well as a number of heavily painted people that are just kind of standing around, especially up on the balconies. In the corner, in the lower far corner is what is left of an iron spiral staircase that has seen better days. It has been repurposed as part of a stage. There's a three-piece band playing on this stage. They're playing a strange dirge. They're all dressed in old frayed suits. There's a tall, thin gentleman playing an upright bass that has a crumpled hat and a pencil-thin mustache. The drummer has an old pork pie hat that has seen better days, rolled up sleeves beneath his vest, spectacles. And while he's totally human, he has features similar to that of a basset hound, except for his incredibly tiny ears. The singer is a stout, round fellow in dress shirt sleeves with a black vest and bowler hat. He's playing the accordion and sings in an almost feminine falsetto voice. The bar is across the way from you. Viv, right in front of you, there's a flight of stairs going up to the balcony.
Okay.
Do the people on the balcony are they obviously armed?
The people on the balcony, you don't see weapons really of any sort. They're wearing a lot of flowing garments that have seen better days, things that look like they've been pieced together to look fancy, but It's tough to tell because up there it's far darker than it is down here. Down here, you've got a couple. You've got the fireplace, a couple tables, and the bar have some candles. Behind the bar is a lantern. But the balcony, everyone looks. It's tough to get any details of the people up on the balcony. They're just kind of leaning up against posts and looking at the music, looking at the people. Viv and Nikita, both of you, give me another perception check, please.
Sure.
If Reed's butt flap is open.
Oh, he's out of his footy pajamas.
Stop
16.
putting images in my head.
Ooh.
Perceive the shit out of it.
Very good.
Literally
all that
and
coffee.
figuratively.
Very good.
Yes, exactly. My pupils are fully dilated. Or is it?
Both of
Yeah.
you, as you walk in here, notice that it's not really overt, but there's people who are sleeping on tables. There's people playing games at other tables. It looks like someone's playing some form of chess. There's some people playing cards. Most people, when you come in, while they may not be making it really obvious, eyes just all immediately kind of go to the door before just kind of going back to what they're doing, but periodically will kind of check out what's going on.
I'm
I just
thinking
kind
we
of
should
like
play this.
slouch standing on my mace on my hip, or just slouch standing up.
It is very dark. There's
So
a layer of smoke that kind of hovers about 3 to 4 feet off the ground and goes up fairly high. It's a pretty thick smoke. It's part of it might be coming from the fireplace. You do know a good amount of it is coming from pipes and cigars. And the smell is a little unusual. You've smelled pipe tobacco, you've smelled cigars, and you can recognize the smell of cigars, but what you're smelling isn't pipe tobacco. It's something a little more. It does not smell like it's coming from any sort of plant or vegetation.
Oh.
It has a very bizarre kind of acrid smell.
This place has an odor. At which point, Gaius just pulls out his own pipe and starts packing tobacco in it. It's like,
Eldrin
I
kind of
don't-
rubs his nose and goes, it's got quite a few odors. So, although after the sewers, it's still welcome, I guess.
Yeah, that's why I carry the pipe around now, just to mask stenches to my own personal bouquet.
What is that scent, though?
So I kind of
It's-
mumble to the group, should we just approach the bartender like nothing's wrong? Or grab a table? Or should we start preparing?
Well, we shouldn't go full ruckus yet, I think. We go grab a
Okay,
drink.
fine.
I mean, a mug is both a holder of liquid and a weapon, technically, so
This is true.
that, and we could just
Are there
ask if
any-
matchmakers around.
Should we ask that?
Are there any open tables?
You're not seeing any.
It's not even one where there's just one guy passed out that I can just casually push out of the chair.
Yeah, there's two.
I want
There's
to live
one
my Western
directly.
lifestyle.
There's one directly in front of you, in front of the fireplace. The guy is large, and he's got him. He's got a mixture of sailor garb, but strangely with some interesting placed plates of metal. It doesn't look like armor, but it looks like it's been added to him to his clothing to almost act like armor. And then directly to the left of the stairs, you have one guy with his back to you. He's a little guy, looks like a laborer who's kind of sprawled out on the table, and then on the other side, the guys on the other side are at the bar.
Okay. So little guy or big guy?
That's the big guy.
Oh, I was asking the group.
That's the little guy. Okay, sorry.
Do you guys want a table? Because we could either take it from him or from him. They both seem
That one has
inebriated.
3 chairs. That one has 2 chairs. I'm fine with either.
Hey.
I say the big
Fireplace
guy.
might be
This
nice.
way we're a little
Yeah, I
closer
think
to
so.
the exit.
Gaius pokes
Yes.
the large person.
He kind of
Mate,
he's
you
about
awake.
ready to stick something in his mouth, and he looks at you and says, "Yeah,
Oh, sorry. I thought you were unconscious.
I've had that happen before."
Would it
Got
be
a
okay
question
if we
for you.
joined you at the table, Tovarish?
He looks at you.
Buy a
and,
drink?
Sure. I'm always open for a free drink.
Отлично. So I will
Read-
sit
Go ahead and
down
sit
next
down.
to him.
Rito stand.
Dude.
Reed stands. He doesn't need
Okay.
a chair.
You can lean up against the fireplace pretty easily without it looking.
That sounds good.
Suspect.
Okay, to the left of the fireplace, even better, because that way you're not right by the flames. The
Right.
people to your left, Reed, look to be playing of some board game with. At first, you think it might be chess, but it seems to be a little different. There's actually pieces on 4 sides of the board that have come in and seem to be intermingling there. But it looks like a cross between chess and some sort of war type game.
Gaius will go up to
What
the
are you
bar.
drinking?
Ah, grog.
Okay. Gaius, could 2 grogs, please?
Gaius wanders up to the bar and just kind of flags down the bartender whenever they're ready.
Okay. It's a big guy, bald, has a lot of scars on his face. His one eye's a little milky. Has a big scar that goes across his bald head, and a tattoo on the side of the other one that looks like it's a dagger through his skull. And he says, "Yeah, mate."
Pitcher of grog and pitcher of beer, 6 mugs.
Okay. We got Dragon Piss, and we've got Kraken's Crack.
Is that the beer or the grog?
Oh, that's the beer that we had come in. The grog we make ourselves. Best in 7 Rivers.
okay. I believe you 100%. So, yeah, I'll take your finest grog, obviously, and whatever beer I guess is the freshest. I'm kind of every beer I've had in this town has been pretty good, to be quite honest.
Okay.
I've had some shit beer out in the country, let me tell you.
Oh, you're from the country, so you're not from around here.
I was born in the country, but I've been here for a bit now.
What ship did you come in
definitely
on?
look. I didn't come on a ship. I came by land.
Oh, we don't get much of your type here. Okay, that'll be 6 silver.
6 silver.
2
I'm new,
pitchers.
but I ain't that new.
pitchers.
How big are your pitch? How big are the pitchers when he puts them on
It's
the
a
thing?
standard size pitcher.
You know what? Forgive me. I'm used to those people a little bit further north trying to skimp on it. At which point, guy slides over 7 silvers to the bartender.
Says,
Is
"Thank
this
you
your
kindly."
place, or are you just tending?
I just tend by it.
Yeah, well, that last one's definitely for you.
Thank you.
I'll be back later for some more.
Okay, give me a perception check.
Perception. Nope, not real great.
Okay.
Ooh.
You make it back to the table, and he goes, I'll leave the mugs here. You can come and get them. Since you got your hands full.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, so guys puts the pitchers down, comes back, grabs the mugs, brings them back over.
Spasiba, guys.
Hey, you
I
know,
pour a
it's
grog for our big.
Okay.
friend. What is your name?
He looks at you and says, Kabosh.
Kabosh. Guys pours himself some beer. Thank you for letting us use your table.
You're buying,
Name is
I'm letting.
name is Gaius.
Gaius.
Yeah. I
Good
apologize for the poking earlier. Oh, you know, it's just fucking. It's from the north of here, so I like making friends in town. It's all about making friends.
He looks at you and says, I'm all about sharing my table for some drink, but I'm not. If you're selling something, I'm not buying.
I'm not selling a thing. I'm just
Okay.
just being polite.
Oh,
You know, you did us a good turn. I do you a good turn.
don't get a lot of that around
So, right.
here, so sorry if it comes as a surprise to me.
You know, it's just it's part of my beliefs following. You know, you want everyone to have a good time. That's all what I'm about.
Kind of looks you up and down and says, you one of those religious types?
Don't hold it against me. I'm not trying to convert anybody. That's not
Yeah.
That's not what I do.
Okay. Because like I said, I'm not buying, and that means everything, so.
That's fine, my friend. I'm not here to convert anybody who's not willing. I'm here to just I saw there were no tables available and figured we ask you. You seemed like a type of person who would appreciate a free drink.
Not sure what that means, but I'll take it in the sense that I want to take it. He goes,
Yeah.
if you're looking for work, we're shipping out in the next couple days, and we're always in need of a good strong back.
Well, I do have that, and I appreciate the offer. If the work I currently have dries up, or stuff goes wrong in town, and I need to leave in a hurry, I'll look I'll look for you here. Do you stay here at the Mermaid, or?
Oh no, I stay on my ship.
Oh, which one's yours?
It's the kettle drum. It's the one blue and red painted on the sides. It's got the
Cargo?
we're
Are
empty
you
at the
hauling
moment.
cargo?
We're waiting for
I
it
was
to
just-
get stored.
Not one of the-
Came in with
not
a
one of
load
the
of
fishers.
came in with a load of goods. We busy getting rid of them as we speak.
Ah, gotcha. Always enjoyed a little bit of sailing. There you have it. 2 master.
Yeah, 3.
3? Ah, okay. Oh God.
It's got those
Oh, no.
big cloth things that catch the air.
Yes, so I would assume you know what sails are. I was just curious. The size of your ship, my friend. That's all.
He looks at you and smiles a little bit. I like you. You're funny.
I try sometimes, I think.
He lifts up his mug, takes the pitcher, fills it up so it even spills over a little bit. Here's to you and how many masts you have. And he cheers to you.
Yeah, just
He downs the thing pretty much in one. It takes a few seconds, but he downs it, puts it down, grabs the pitcher, and fills it up again. Says, so, what brings you to these parts from the north? And he looks around at the
Work.
entire table.
Look,
I'm hiding behind Nikita.
Ah, work. Well, you consider my offer there, little lady. There are some ships that don't believe in having ladies on board, but the kettle drum will. If you're willing to work, we'll take you on.
sounds fair. Possibly I'll see about it.
Not only that, you'll see the world.
Kibosh, I have a question for you.
Kibosh, that's a
What was that?
interesting accent. You're nothing, little lady.
That was his name,
What-
right? That wasn't the bartender's name?
Kibosh.
Kabosh.
Kibosh. Ah.
But
My
I like
apologies.
kibosh. I can use that. Thanks. No one's ever said that to me before.
Shit. I have a question for you.
You
maybe
talk
if you
shit
don't
to me,
mind.
I'm going to kibosh it right there.
There you go.
the play with words.
I'm good with the words. It's the pronunciation, the spelling that I suck at.
Don't we all? We have heard there was someone here also offering jobs, name of like matchmaker or something. Does that ring a bell?
You kind of just go, you give me a perception, an insight check. Viv, give me a perception check also while you're.
Perception?
Yes, please.
Sure thing.
Ruh-roh.
I am getting wicked lag.
Okay. No, I got you.
12.
What you get is like he freezes for a second. And Viv, when Nikita says, the matchmaker, some of the people you can see past Kibosh. Now you got me doing it. Past Kibosh at some of the tables. You see a couple people kind of their heads just kind of turn briefly in your direction, and then go back to what they're doing. But you can kind of see that you're being clocked a little bit.
I kind of lean
Shit.
into the table more.
And he says, I've heard of this person. That's about it. I've only been here for a few days, but supposedly if you need something, or if you need, you need some sort of comfort or something, you seek this person out. That's all I know.
Interesting. I did not know that. Maybe it's the wrong person then. Huh. I appreciate you
"Well-
letting me know, though.
Down here at the docks, comfort comes in a lot of forms. Just be aware of that.
This is true. This is true.
He tops
I'm
off
gonna
his grog
lean
again.
over. Oh. I'm gonna lean over to Nikita
say-
and just be like, I think this place might be the place we thought it was the first time.
Reed is
Doc.
specifically watching guys' back.
You're right.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah,
You know-
guys is kind of just leaning back in the chair now, just sipping and just observing.
Reed, give me a perception check. Okay. This guy here,
Mhm.
you've noticed that he's adjusted himself in his chair so that he can get it, so his back isn't to you and he can kind of keep an eye on things. He's trying to be real subtle about it, but As far as what you can see, it's not all that subtle. No one else in your group seems to have noticed, but you've kind of just caught it. And he's periodically leaned across the table and kind of whispered some stuff, and also made some hand gestures that you recognize. You couldn't make out what they're saying because it's so dark in here, but you can tell that it's like some thief communication.
Okay. I'll just take a couple steps around Nikita and put myself between her and Gaius,
Okay.
and kind of just watch that guy.
As you
Kinda
do
let him
that,
know that I know what he's doing.
as you do that, Kabosh just kind of finishes up his mug, sets it down, grabs the pitcher, looks in, downs that, puts it down, and he puts it on the table, wipes his mouth, and says, I thank you guys for the refreshment, but if you'll excuse me, I've got a date with a dark alley. And he starts walking out the door.
Bye, Kabosh. Pleasure meeting you.
Have fun.
Well, you scared the shit out of him.
That is sort of what I expected, but at the same time, then nobody jumped.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of.
I kind of nudged
Yeah,
Nikita in the. I nudged Nikita in the side. I'm like, the guys over there. They know something.
Everyone give me a perception check.
All right.
Oh, Lord.
Here we go again.
Some more perceptions.
Ew. That's not a good number.
16 for me.
I can't even. The screen isn't even coming up for me.
Okay. Well, Reed and Gaius, one of the things you've noticed is the room has gotten a lot quieter since you've come in. So much so that you can actually make out the words of the song that this band is playing, this slow dirge with the accordion and the bass and the drums. And it's a song of a sailor who has had many wives. Each of them have wanted to join him at sea, and how each of them eventually wear him down enough that they join him, and then the incredibly graphic way in which each of them meet their demise when out in the endless expanse of the ocean.
Subtle. That's not my style.
It took you a while because it's this kind of. At first, you thought it was going to be a song of love and loss, but then you know, as you start kind of really being able to hear the words, it's a little disturbing, actually.
Well,
And as that comes to an end, they go into another one. Equally, it actually seems to be a little slower. This one actually starts off sounding a little bit like a love song, and it's a little quieter too. And Gaius, as you were looking, you notice as the other one came to the end, this person right here turned around and whispered something to the drummer, who then kind of made a motion to the singer, and that's when they started this quieter song.
I'm just keeping an eye on that table next to us.
The other thing you notice, guys, is the balcony seems to... You're not 100% sure, but you think there's a good chance that there's more people up in the balcony than there was when you entered.
now is there... I know it's very dim. Is there candles and stuff up there as well?
There's nothing
Like
up
light
there.
sources?
There's no light sources
Nothing
up there.
Okay.
There's the fireplace. There's a couple candles over by the band. There's over one at the table on the western wall, and there's a lantern behind the bar. And like I said, there's a heavy layer of smoke that kind of fills the room with pretty much everywhere about 3 to 4 feet above the floor on up. And you do see a lot of people smoking pipes, the occasional cigar.
Okay. Quick group huddle.
Guys,
do we
also
want to
real
address
quick, some of the people you see smoking the pipes
Yeah.
look really the ones closest to you that you can see smoking the pipes look incredibly glassy-eyed.
Mm. Okay. Quick powwow. I'm going to go up to the bartender and ask that we would like to speak to the matchmaker. I'm almost certain, and then Gaius kind of just casually gestures with his head back toward the far wall over there, that he's over there, through context clues that I've gotten through observing. Everyone cool with that, or should we just...
You think
Yeah,
the
everyone
matchmaker
ready
is
for
on
some
the
fun?
stage? Yes,
Oh, I
let's go.
think the match. No, I think the matchmaker's at the table next to the stage.
I see. Okay.
Nikita, as tries to be quiet and subtle, should yeah, exactly. Should Viv maybe go up the stairs to get a better bead on people? Just, I see the longbow. I think maybe she can get a little more
I can
defensive
loosen the
for
peace
us.
bonds.
I
Yeah.
mean, we could do that. It's just, I get the vibe there's a bunch of people up there now. And if there are,
True.
they're because we're here. We're the common denominator in this situation, I think.
Nikita,
mean-
when Gaius says that, you do notice the balcony has a lot of people like at the railing and leaning up against the poles and such. You can't make out details of them except for kind of, it looks like a lot of flowing, hanging stuff around their garbs made up of. That's really all you can make out. You can make out when you look at like through the smoke at their faces, you see a lot of heavily painted faces. But that's really all you can make out.
Maybe I can't be your archer, but maybe I can be up there in case people up there try anything.
Yeah. Certainly.
It's a thought.
Yeah, why don't...
I could go with her
Well-
just to make sure she does not get attacked.
I mean, that you can do that. I don't know. We're assuming we're going to get attacked, but I don't know if we are going to get
I have
attacked.
no idea what's
I guess they're
happening.
assuming we're going
Usually
to
my
start.
default state.
Yeah.
But it might almost be better if we all stay down here, you go to ask, and if things look like crap, we just try to pull back into this entrance area and
Sure.
try to funnel them all through the doorway. I do not like
True.
how open this area is.
Though, I mean, ultimately, we want the match. And Gaius, we ultimately want to talk to that individual who is looking for our friend. So,
Yes.
we're here for
All right,
information.
I'll follow your leads.
I'll watch your back,
Okay.
guys.
All right. So, Gaius will go up to the bartender.
Another round?
No. Let the matchmaker know we're here to talk with him, and Gaius puts down a gold piece and slides it over to the bartender. I know he's here, or at least his friends are here, so, just pass the message along. Not here for any violence or anything like that. Just here to...
Oh, that's good. We're a peace-loving bar here, sir. And then he goes, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, Gaius and him just have a good old like, yes. Oh, 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 that was a good one. Yeah, no,
He
but for now,
he points
no.
over to the table, to the western side of the room. Says he's right over there, and he turns around and there's a bell, and he gives it one ding and then two dings, and he looks over there and points at you. He goes,
Okay,
Hi.
I'm in a lot more hand-on weapon. I am really paying close attention here.
Yeah, I'm standing. I am
Yeah.
standing up.
I'm standing, yeah.
Gaius go make his way over.
Okay, you see what you see are two rather large, one large individuals, no shirts, no shoes, have large cutlasses that are kind of held in place with large sashes, standing on either side of this booth. And behind there is a person, kind of tall and willowy thin, kind of greasy black hair. And when I say greasy, I mean it's like pomade, and pulled back
Yeah, okay.
into kind of a bun, kind of chestnut colored skin. Eye around the eyes are painted. Prominent nose. You can't make out a lot of details. On either side of them are two individuals that seem to be wearing a lot of veils and everything, also seem to be painted rather heavily, kind of lounging up next to them. And this figure is smoking a very long pipe with a very small bowl at the end, and has a glass in front of him and says, "Ah, my friend, I had a feeling you came to see me. What can I
Yes,
do for you? You in need of company? You in need of some sort of fun? You in need of some sort of release or pain? The pain taken away. What can I do for you, my friend?"
I have a need for information. I need to be
I
released
can do that as well.
from ignorance.
Well, that might be a little more difficult, he says, and then just they say, and they smile.
Well,
The voice is such that it's tinged almost as if to sound more masculine than it is, but you're not sure.
Well, I believe you are one of the few people that can help with this, because I seek someone. They are short of stature, blue of color, and then Gaius literally lists the litany from the bounty that he has posted. I seek someone of that particular nature, matchmaker.
You seek them, not you don't. Do you have them?
I seek them, matchmaker, and I seek the knowledge of who else covets them.
I've heard quite a few people now are coveting the idea of them. So I think you better get in line, my friend. It is first come, first serve when it comes to this.
So I get the impression that no one has turned in the prize yet, then.
Not as yet. It's an open playing field. Who knows? If you know anything of this creature, perhaps you could be the lucky person to bring home the prize.
Who is the ultimate seeker, though? Who is the one that
The
gets
one
the
who
prize
gets
at
the
end?
bounty, of course.
No. You obviously pay them, the one who turns them in. Who do you then pass them to?
Ah, I am just a simple businessman.
And that's why I
Business
came to you.
person, business owner,
This business individual.
businesswoman, business individual. I am everything in all of those.
I seek to know who wants to acquire that particular bounty, who that is ultimately going to, because I believe we might have similar interests.
Ah, so you said you're in search of information.
Mm-hmm.
I assume you're willing to pay for this information because
There are many ways to pay for things, yes.
this is true. Depends what you have to offer. And they seem very intrigued. And they say, very interesting. This information, a lot of people would love to be able to know who this person is because there's a lot of money at stake.
There is a lot of money at stake, but I doubt they want to actually know who is getting the prize. They are just interested in the money. That's two totally different things.
If they could,
I mean,
if they could
they could-
avoid dealing with me, then they could actually make more money, though. So, I
but you
beg
see,
to
you would
differ.
find that out.
You are a
You would
good
find that
judge of
out.
character. You are.
I don't seek to necessarily cut anyone out of any deals. It's more of the prize is precious to me.
Oh, ooh. So, let me see if I get this true. Are you seeking to outbid the original bidder, as it were?
I am here seeking information in the easiest way possible to, at which point Gaius leans in, knuckles pressed to the table, has his eyes go black, whispering starts to hit the air around him, and the candlelight dims and flickers throughout the bar. I'm here to save a soul, one in need.
Give me a persuasion check, please.
Ooh, okay. Let this be better than all the 15. 15's not
Okay.
bad.
Scared me for a moment. I think I'm gonna. Vivalda goes up to the bar just to kind of sit and be closer to Gaius in case anything goes wrong.
Okay, the bartender, as I've described before, comes over to you and says, "Ah, little lady, what can I get for you?"
Let me think on it. Thank you.
Okay. Also, if you're ever looking for a job, you let me know. And he goes back to where he
Okay.
Guys, he just kind of leans back and smiles at you and says, tricks, tricks, tricks.
Not.
Now, gold is very persuasive. Gems are very
Gold.
persuasive. Certain people can be very persuasive if that's what you have to offer. But tricks, I have all I want of tricks.
It's not tricks. It's the divine blessing. And he also takes a coin and then starts just walking along his knuckles. I'm here. I have options. What is
Please,
the cost?
What is the cost? What is the cost for what, my good man? That's what I need to know. If we're going to talk business, now here's the thing. Are you here to talk business? Or are you just here to, I don't know, see what you can find out? Or perhaps, I don't know, perhaps you're trying to threaten me. And he looks at the two large people on either side of the booth who also start laughing. And the two figures on either side of them just seems to cuddle into them more.
I'm here to make a business transaction if I can.
Very good. Then perhaps we should go to my office, you and I.
Lead the way.
Okay.
I have a couple compatriots that are going to follow us, though.
Oh. You see, I don't know your compatriots, and they'll be fine out here. You and I can go and talk.
Just the two of us, then.
Just the two of us.
Okay. Just the two of us.
Okay.
At which point, guys kind of like turns around and try to catches everybody's eye, and like just kind of like pre-assigned hand signal or something that he's not 100% sure if he's made with most of the party. Viv does not get it. Just, to her, he goes.
I just go.
He's like.
Reed leans into Nikita. What does it mean? What does it mean?
It is a watch and see, unfortunately. I'm hoping he walks close enough to him that we can figure out maybe an emergency signal if he needs our help.
I think he could make it
Do they
obvious
walk
when
past
trouble's
us all?
happening. I would imagine so, right, Paul? We walk past everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. At which point, guys is like, yes, I would love to potentially make this a positive transaction, specifically passing the table. There's no need for violence, no need for any kind of chicanery. And then he turns around and specifically like glares at them and he's like, yet.
Call out. Nikita tries to call out or something. Let us know.
I go back to the table.
Guys is like, it. And then you remember all the loud noises Gaius makes when he's in combat. And you're like, I think I can...
Are those the two bodyguards guarding that little entrance?
Yes.
What do they look like again?
Very large, no shirts, kind of baggy pants that come down just below the knee, no shoes, big black sashes around their waist pulled tight, and a cutlass in each of their sashes. And you notice as they go past you, Nikita, give me a perception check.
Oh boy. Please, no, website was reloaded. Come on, man.
You want me to roll something for you, or someone else to roll
Yes,
for you?
please. I'm sorry. It's being weird.
No. It's fine. It's fine. If anyone wants to roll a 20-sider, I'll. What are your bonuses
got
for
it.
perception?
Sure.
With perception?
Yeah.
That's
I rolled you.
like intelligence.
I rolled you a
right?
17.
Perception's wisdom.
No, it's wisdom.
Perception. Yeah, that's a -2.
Okay, so 15.
So you got a 15.
Okay,
Solid.
as they go by, you notice that in the back of their sash are two long daggers, but they're thin and long.
Okay.
Some stilettos.
So.
I lean forward
Uh,
to Nikita and just am like, "You went in alone, but what do we do?"
He wants us to wait, and then if things get hairy, we'll hear from him. We'll hear the signal.
He says,
I
"After
don't know.
you, sir."
Oh, okay. I will go in first, I guess. And
Okay. He follows it in after you and takes a seat behind the desk, shutting the door behind him, and says, "So, everybody but Gaius, please take off your headphones." Okay.
Wait for it.
He says, "First of all, please, I'd like to know who I'm doing business with. Who are you, sir?"
Gaius,
Gaius.
cleric of the revelry.
Ah, a fun-loving individual. Even better. Man after my own heart. I am, if you haven't already figured out, Shad Chan the matchmaker.
Yes. So, Shachan, I come and you know what's going to be blunt with you, because you are a smart individual and you will find this out in a relatively easy amount of time. The bounty that is put out was put out on an individual named Butt Trumpet. You are aware of this because you're the intermediary. Yes?
Yes.
This person is someone that has fallen under my protection.
But I gather, with your use of phrasing, they aren't currently under your protection, or your protection has failed, because otherwise, why would you be coming to see me?
Because there may or may not be someone trying to cut you out of your profits, I think.
Go on, I'm listening. You intrigue me.
Well, after we'll say someone may have absconded with your bounty, they haven't come to you with them yet. And they
And
might
when-
not now.
Did they abscond with this little creature?
It was just literally it happened yesterday, right?
It was last night, basically.
Last night, yeah. It's happened very recently, but I would have imagined with the was there a number on the bounty offer that we heard? Or
Nikita told you good coin was offered. Which she said the butterbeer meant that it was probably a decent amount of money.
so the fact that it has happened and you have yet to receive said package, if you will, I have a distinct feeling that they might be cutting you out of it. And also, to be quite honest, I don't want any trouble with you or your people. I would like my friend back, if possible. I know good coin was, the word used for the payment. What exactly for you is called good coin?
It varies. Good coin for me might not be good coin for you. But, let's back up a little bit. If you lost your friend only recently, that's plenty of time for people to do what they need to do to get the bounty. I am not worried about that.
But they haven't come to you with them yet.
Not yet, but these things take time.
They might take time, but also they could. I would have imagined that they would have gotten to you already about it, sent you a message, let you know.
That's possible. It depends on how organized the individual is. Are they organized? Are they affiliated, or are they working by themselves? Maybe they're naive.
Maybe,
It's
maybe.
possible.
That's, well, like I said, I heard the bounty. I figured it could be in relation to yours, or it could be somebody else as well. I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of dumb criminals out there.
Oh, I'm well aware of that. But what I can do
I
is
have
this. If indeed you might have some merit there, I don't think it's as yet, but you might. Let's say more time goes by than I'm comfortable with. Where could I find you? And then maybe we can talk.
Well, if you're as connected as I think you are, you have my name, you have my friend's name. You could find us, or at least contact individuals up near the library district and
Very
find
well.
us around there.
Okay.
But I wonder how protected is the information about who made this contract with you? Is it well known, or is this something other individuals might know as well?
Let's just say I'm secure in the knowledge of of my dealings.
Hmm. Are you dealing with some wizardly types, though?
Possibly, possibly not.
Because
It could
got to be
be
careful.
anyone that I'm dealing with. I am but a middleman. I make things
I know.
happen. That's why people come to me.
I'm well aware. So I guess basically I just want. I wonder what would be the price of a name.
Ah, you see, now we're talking business.
Mm-hmm. You know the name I'm interested in. What would be the price of a name? Just a name.
We have options, young man.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a businessman. I'm willing to entertain options. Names
That's why
are
I'm here.
dangerous things. Names
They are power.
are power. But there are ways to skirt names.
Mm. There
And
are.
there are. But I could do a name. It would just be incredibly expensive. But you don't look like the sort of person that has those sort of means. No offense. I hope you understand. It's just I deal
None.
with people constantly, and you get to see certain things and know certain details. But
None taken.
you do look like somebody who would be willing to pay for information that is almost as good as a name. How is that?
I think we could work something out depending upon how fruitful the information is and what the cost might be for it.
I think you'll find the information incredibly fruitful and satisfying and put your mind at ease. Or the exact opposite in case of this particular situation. And taking into account the people involved, my own security, my safety, my reputation, 100 gold should take care of that.
I could foot that bill if need be. 100 gold.
I will tell you this, you can ask anyone down here on the docks. The matchmaker is an honorable businessman and can be trusted to do his part of a contract.
Well, a matchmaker, like I said, I don't need to get into any kind of shenanigans down here.
That is good because, no offense, but I think you'd be on the short end of the stick down this way because you're not playing in your home field, as it were, here.
I realize that, and that's why I came to talk business. So,
and I respect that. I want you to know that. And I respect that you came to speak to me face to face and that we are handling this like gentlemen.
At which point, guys reaches out, stacks up 50 gold pieces in front of him. I have the half here, and he makes a jingle in his purse. I have more. What is the information? I will, in good faith, give you the rest.
That is fair. He takes the 50 gold, looks at you to make sure it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Takes
Go
it,
ahead.
puts it in his pouch, tenses his hands here, and he says, "You are good to your word, sir, Mr. Gaius?"
Yes.
Very well. Then what I have to tell you is that you are indeed correct. The person that you are seeking is someone who dabbles in the arcane. And I have a feeling is exactly who you think they are.
Oh. Interesting. Interesting.
See? Names are very powerful, but putting words together can tell you so much more. And be so much cheaper.
Believe me. It can be. It can be. I appreciate your candor, and I'm curious. If one were to hire you to find a person, not collect, but just maybe a friendly point in a certain direction, how much would that cost? As Gaius is stacking up the next 50 coins on the table.
He says that would depend on a number of details. We would have to discuss that. I'm more than happy to do that after we can finish this business. You and I can discuss that.
At which point, Gaius just slides the 50 over to them, and he's like, well, it's just in the future, maybe. I mean, we'll see. I trust in your information, and I hope it points me in the right direction, but I'd like to make friends. Everywhere.
I do too. Friends are a good thing. And if you find yourself in need of friends, I could definitely put you in contact with a number of very friendly individuals.
Also, if you ever need help of a healer.
Ah, that is good to know. I quite often
This is my
am.
profession.
So you are in the
Well-
library district. Where in the library district might I find you as the healer should? Because sometimes when I'm in need of a healer, time is of the essence.
You could send a message to the Stone's Throw, and that will usually find
Wonderful.
me.
He says, okay, so just so you know, if you need me to find somebody, a number of things come into account. Distance, are they someone local? How far away are they? Do you know exactly where they are? Also, who are they? And by setting this up, what would the danger be to me to hunt this person or to have this person found? So, security, information, distance. If it's someone's wife, that's one thing. If they happen to be a gladiator of immense renown, or, incredibly powerful or perhaps a high ranking politician, all these things cost money. So you know.
A powerful magic user, as an example.
Ah, powerful magic users are very dangerous and therefore
I'm
very
aware.
expensive.
I figured that was the case, but I think you set me along the right path at the very least. So I appreciate your time and candor,
I
and I
will.
won't waste any more of it. Hmm?
Well, you have been incredibly forthcoming with me, and you have been a gentleman, which I respect to all ends. So I'm going to give you a piece of information that I should not give you for free, but I'm going to give because of the way you've handled yourself this morning.
Let's just say, hypothetically, you're speaking to an empty room, and you don't
Very
realize
well.
I'm in here.
What I can say is the cost to find this individual would be even more expensive because at the moment I am totally empty of information as to where they are.
That is an interesting fact I heard somewhere.
And quite valuable, so I hope you take that as my favor and my gift to you for doing business with me. Think of it as a little entrance gift.
Gaius reaches across the table with his hand. Matchmaker, I appreciate doing business with you.
The pleasure was all mine, Mr. Gaius.
Okay. Well, I guess I better hit the old dusty trail before my team decides to get all ornery and think
Might
I'm
be
dead
good.
or something.
Gaius has been back there for some time.
Yeah.
The two gentlemen, we'll say, standing guard there, don't seem even the least bit phased. And just kind of are sitting there picking their nails, occasionally saying something to each other. That's about it. And then after a decent amount of time, Gaius, you want to handle this from here?
Yeah, he kind of just like puts his arms around the two guys. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure doing business with your boss, but it's time for me and my friends to leave. And he kind of just like slides on through. Yeah, we can go. We've gotten what we need.
All
Sort of.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
At which point we go a reasonable distance and maybe find like a dock that might not have anybody on it to keep prying ears away.
Okay, what you can do is going back the way you came, because going further into this area is equally bad.
Yeah, no.
You
Not
go
that.
back the way you came, and after about 15, 20 minutes, that kind of area where you gather, there's like, you cross that line between feeling salt air and the smell of the docks to crossing over that line to where you feel like, when I leave here, I'm going to need to wash. And I don't mean like literally, I mean like from the inside. When you cross that line, things kind of, business is a little slower at this end of that part of the commercial docks. There's plenty of places where you can stay in the wide open to make sure that no one's around you who can hear you. And without, because if, there's a point where you get to an area where there's like just big wide section of dock and there's no one around for easily 50 to 100 feet in any direction.
So, okay. I need a transaction with the matchmaker. I am both richer in knowledge and poorer in gold for it. But the good news is that whoever has taken Butt Trumpet has not turned them in yet. And I've planted the seed within them to say that maybe Matchmaker might get cut out of the deal. But I did get clues for my information with who is the one who put the contract out in the first place. And Nikita, your instincts were correct.
Okay.
Magic douchebag guy. Yeah. Him,
Morbius?
Methuselah, whatever his name was.
Mamulian.
The Mamulian, yeah.
Mamana.
Got it.
And
Mamulian.
because we had such a cordial chit chat, if you will, I was able to get basically, I guess, for a discount, free of charge kind of nonsense. Matchmaker was not aware of Mamulian's location or where they were currently. So we know where Butt Trumpet will end up. We know that the Matchmaker is the intermediary for whoever has taken them. The question is, will the people who took them, will they go to Matchmaker with them, or will they try to cut them out of it? Also, we should probably look and see if maybe, like you said, maybe Sparkle Bottom might have some idea where we're going to need to get in touch with some people who have magic connections. Gilderoy,
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of... to throw this in his lap if he's...
I kind of know that Nickleby guy.
Oh,
He
yeah.
would be a good one. And he can talk to her mind, maybe find out where she is.
We need to reach out to them because we know ultimately where they might end up. The question
Eldred-
is, I
Eldred-
guess...
Eldred says, maybe I missed something, or maybe I'm not following. You've mentioned twice now about whoever has Butt Trumpet avoiding the Matchmaker and going directly to the person.
The contact.
Yeah. I'm missing how that's possible.
Oh, it was less of a possibility, more of like a idea I planted in Matchmaker's mind.
Oh, okay. I thought you really thought that was
No.
an option.
I didn't think
Okay.
it was a possibility, but I didn't want... I was trying to approach them as, at first, a potential secondary buyer. Then I realized that's probably... Once I got the vibe that it was way too expensive, finding out where they might end up instead. So...
Okay.
kind of like didn't want to piss the person off with the information and tried to get as much out of them as possible. So throwing random kidnappers under the bus in the hope that they were dumb enough to try and do that. Here's hoping. But no. Didn't think that. Sorry if I wasn't clear, because it was a lot of wordplay between the two of us, and keeping track of it's a little fuzzy at times. But
Eldred
yes,
says,
no.
"Oh, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall for that one."
Oh, it's like you were almost there, buddy.
Oh, good.
But anywho, so yes.
What is the plan now then? We go find your friend Sparkle, the professor?
So we
Or your friend
we
who
sent
said
the message.
mind read your friend?
Oh yes. So we sent the message to the one Sparklebottom. We read you are the one who has had the most contact with Nickleby.
Barnaby Nickleby.
That the name? I don't know. I've never met the individual. So he's also a
I
magic
could
user of some influence. Yeah, send him a message, whatever. And then we could potentially get a line on where Mamulian is.
So you
It sounds
want
like
me
something
to
we-
write him a note?
I don't know. Can do you know any magic, Reed?
No, no. But I can write him a note.
It could
I
write him a note.
think,
I
Paul, sorry, double checking. Did I ask Butterbeer to send a message to Nickleby?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
You asked a message to be sent somewhere. Where was it? No, you sent the
thought it was
message
me.
to Prudence.
That was the letter that Gaius wrote?
Right.
I could have sworn I
the night
also asked
before-
a separate message.
No, you talked
think the night
about contacting him, and Butterbeer told you that was probably a good idea.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
so that then we also do that.
So we could always try that or just wander up to wherever Reed knows him from.
That's up way though. I'm almost sure there's a monetary transaction manager there, or a permission slip or something from the principal. I mean,
Eldred
So
goes,
very nice.
yeah, that, because we were up there once, and they seemed very reluctant to let us in, even though we had documentation that we were meant to go in, if you remember.
yeah. Remember Eldred that
Really?
one time where I went and saw the Baron and nobody believed me?
Right.
These
And the
Which
very
one
first
was
time we
yours?
entered the city.
And also that.
I
Both
wasn't
times
there.
we had to
Oh,
basically
man.
convince people to let us that we were supposed to be going in. I'm
true.
sorry, Vivalda, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying I wasn't there, so I don't remember. But
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. I say these things and people are like, I don't believe you. I'm like, no, they really did happen. Like I met the Baron and we got drunk together. It was a good time.
I believe you guys.
Elder goes, I
yes.
don't. I think he's full of porkies.
Son of a
I
bitch,
believe
Eldred.
Eldred, you
Anyway.
were with them. You know.
So back to Stone's Throw again, or
We could stop there real quick. What time of the day is it now, Paul?
It is probably mid-morning. Late morning, actually, because you
Still early.
took a
Started
while to
early.
get over here. Mid to late morning, we'll say.
I mean, we can. We could stop there real quick, send out the message, and then, I mean, I guess we could try going to the sewer unless there's some information there for us, because that's where everybody sends
a good
messages to
place
find
to
them.
check in?
Eldred says the sewers are where everyone sends messages?
No, you're being obtuse and you're doing it on purpose.
No, actually, I'm just having a hard time
Stone's
following
Throw.
you this time.
Son of a. Okay, we go to
Stone's
Stone's
Throw.
Throw.
Ah,
Send a message out, check for our mail, and then maybe try to go to the sewers and be productive ish.
did a courier in a brown uniform drop anything off?
Yeah. What can Brown do for you?
Nah.
Anyway, okay, so the stone's throw.
Yeah, fast forward there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my question.
Mhm.
Do you want to go back the way you came? In other words, go all the way to the other end of the docks and then go the way you've taken up to the library district constantly? Or do you want to take your chances at kind of going just north?
Do we
The
know both of
latter.
us?
Pardon? Was that Nikita?
Do we know? I don't think I know what is north of us.
You know that the library district is north, roughly north of where you are. Probably a little
Okay.
northeast.
All right.
What?
I guess I
seems
don't
faster.
understand how we'd be taking a chance.
Oh, you're not taking a chance. I just wanted to know what way you plan on taking.
Oh, okay.
It's a huge city.
One way is probably quicker than the other.
Yeah, but the other
Right,
way, but
right.
the longer way is a way that you know you'll get there without getting lost at all.
We could take a carriage.
Eldred says that's really smart.
Hey.
Yeah.
Speaking of
All right,
carriages,
bye,
why?
guys. I could never do that
Excellent.
with my
Deaf
fingers.
horses
Can someone
everywhere.
whistle? Oh yeah. Are there any carriages left?
There aren't any here on the docks.
I imagine so.
You'd have to get off the docks, you imagined.
Yeah. We do that. We get off the docks and we whistle up a handsome.
Okay. You know a handsome's not going to do it for the likes of you. You're 5 people. You're going to need a carriage.
Yeah.
But you go down a side street or a main street that's heading north. Your choice.
Main Street.
Okay.
I'm
Much
following.
wiser decision. Go up the main street. You hit the warehouse district, which is just lots of large buildings, very few, like next to no windows, lots of barn doors as well as little doors. Certain, like if you were to look left, it's more of the same, but it just looks shadier. The buildings are a lot older. It's not as bustling. To the right, it's hopping. Barn doors are open. People are coming in and out. Carts are coming, being loaded up, being emptied, all that sort of stuff. But you don't see any hansoms or carriages here. But you could continue north, and you have a feeling you'd probably have a much better chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep going north.
Someone roll me a 20-sider, please.
You got it, guys?
Yep.
Yay, I have a website.
19.
Again.
You come out onto the next street past the warehouse district, and a large carriage seems to be pulling up right towards you.
Oh!
Whoa!
Hey, oh! Hey, oh! Sorry. Oh, God. It's like I was in a terrible place called New York City for a second. Ugh.
And the person tells you that for a gold piece, they'll happily take you as far up as the library district. You can then lead them to where you need to go. And if that's amenable to you,
Yeah.
then I think that's where we'll call it a night.
All right.
Hey, yo!
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for seeing us through all this. And a special thank you to our new guest player, Vivalda, played by Brianna. And she's going to be with us for the month of December, and we'll see from there where things go. Also, a reminder that we will be at PAX Unplugged this whole weekend. We will also have special T-shirts. We're only going to have a few of them available, so if you see us and you want one, just grab us and we'll make sure that that can happen. They'll be at a special convention price. So other than that, let's find out next week. Was this information that Gaius got good? What happens as far as where is Butt Trumpet, and will the friends be able to locate them? So tune in next week. Same Grognard time, same Grognard channel, same Grognard intrigue in this particular case.